Hello, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Dr. Mark Foster Show. Today is Saturday, June 22nd, 2013. Today I will address a topic which is something that has been much in the news lately, namely the topic of surveillance and the concern that many people have over why there is so much surveillance, why the National Security Agency in the United States seems to have been collecting so much of it, that over the last couple of years there have been numerous leaks, and of course the most current one from Mr. Snowden, why there is so much concern and focus around the whole drone program. The most recent information that was released is that the FBI has also been using its own drones for a type of domestic surveillance. The response, I think, while somewhat understandable, has, I think, been misdirected. And by the response, I mean the most common response, the one which is most visible in the media, especially online, especially on a lot of websites, particularly libertarian, patriot type websites, where people in general are predisposed, it seems, to distrust the government in any case. But I think that when people criticize the surveillance program, they're looking at the wrong thing. I'll give you an example. Just today, I was listening to a program in which they quoted a clip from this individual who said that President Obama is now worse than President Richard Nixon. Now, here's my difficulty with that. I remember Watergate. I remember the impeachment proceedings, the attempts to impeach President Richard Nixon. I remember the summer of 1974, which was the summer after I graduated high school, driving, or I should say bicycling across country with some friends of mine from New York to Chicago, walking into a hotel, and right above the registration desk was a television set, and on that television set was Richard Nixon resigning as President of the United States and turning the presidency over to his Vice President, Gerald Ford, who of course subsequently pardoned him. Those two events, what Richard Nixon did and what Barack Obama is doing through his administration, are entirely different. There is, as best I can tell, really no comparison at all. Richard Nixon authorized a burglary for political upsmanship or political advantage. He had the headquarters of the Democratic Party burglarized in order to steal information from them. Well, what President Obama is doing is not a partisan activity. In fact, if you have been following many of the comments that have been made about the release, there seem actually to be more Republicans in Congress who support what President Obama is doing than Democrats. But many Democrats, such as Nancy Pelosi, support it as well. So, and various other people have defended it. Senator Feinstein from California, for example, has defended it. So, it's not a partisan issue. They're two entirely different issues. What happened with Richard Nixon and what is happening with Barack Obama. Both, obviously, have caused a great deal of anxiety, possibly resulting in congressional hearings. Both have required additional releases of information, but as best I can tell, that is where the similarity ends. Here is the question that I think that we, and by we I mean not just people in the United States, but all of us around the world, need to be asking. Why? Why? Why is all this information being collected right now? Why have there been so much attention that has been focused on whistleblowers, including at least one journalist, people who have released information which is seen to be, or allegedly, compromises American national security? What does the federal government know? Well, I am, for what it's worth, profoundly grateful that I do not need to listen to the daily intelligence briefing that President Obama listens to. I would imagine that the stuff that he hears is absolutely horrendous. The world is in tatters. Tremendous global social disorganization, to use a sociological term. The economies around the world not doing very well either. Environmentally, we're seeing the horrendous effects of man-made climate change, and the fact that people know this and people are aware that these things are happening. That recent tornado in Oklahoma, Superstorm Sandy, Hurricane Katrina, that horrendous tsunami that wiped out Indonesia, a large section of Indonesia, a number of years ago. We have been, as a world, tearing the earth apart to support the capitalist world system. In effect, the capitalist world system has been cannibalizing on itself in order to survive. So, in the midst of these extreme threats, not only to national security, but to global security, these types of measures which have been taken are understandable. So, I am not a partisan individual. I am neither criticizing nor am I attacking what has been going on with surveillance. All I'm saying is that I think we need to ask better questions. I think we need to look, for example, at whether the nation-state system that we have right now is effective. It appears to me that it's not. We need a new world order. We need some level of global governance. We need to have certain transnational or supranational authorities which can resolve problems which single countries, like the United States, are really incapable of resolving. Certainly the United States would like to do more, for example in Syria, but then there's the problem of Russia. Russia also has some valid concerns. Everyone sees what is going on. Everyone who is in a position of power recognizes that the world is in some really bad situations. So that, I think, is where our attention should be focused. Not on the development of this surveillance state, but rather on why we have this surveillance state right now in 2013. Why we have this expanding drone program in 2013. It's not just because the technology allows governments to do it. It's because of the fact that we are in a very dangerous and precarious world situation. So hopefully this program, whether you agree with me or not, will provide some thought, some topics for reflection. As always, I encourage people to respond respectfully. I don't care if you agree with me, but I do care if people want to flame me or attack me. Right below this program, you can make a comment, and I do respond to messages. Someone recently got annoyed at me because I went for a week without responding. Well, that was during the semester, and I'm very busy. Often I don't get to respond until weekends. I am on vacation now in the summer, so I do have more time, but still occasionally things come up. I will, however, respond most likely within 2 or 3 days of when you leave the message. So that's basically all I had to say. And again, I would encourage people to calm down, to relax a bit, not to worry about the surveillance. That's not the real issue. The issue is, what kind of world do we want to live in? How can we create collectively a global society which will be more responsive to human needs, which will be united, where people will be able to work together as members of a world community? Until next time, this is Dr. Mark Foster. Have a good one.